Welcome to today's program, The Beauty of Grace, and I'm Pastor Pete Norris, Harvest Fellowship Church, Goldsboro, North Carolina. We've been talking about rest and grace this week, and we're gonna go to Hebrews chapter 4, verse 3, and we're gonna learn, what does it mean to just rest? Does it mean to just sit there and do nothing? No, you and I are working out of rest, out of a place of rest, not trying to fix it, but just trusting the Lord with it. In other words, Hebrews 4 and 3 says this: "For we who have believed do enter that rest." Now, naturally speaking, when we rest, we don't work. So what does working out of rest mean? Well, let me explain by sharing with you what the Lord told me. You know, I heard Pastor Joseph Prince read this thing, and I'm going to read it exactly, so I'm going to give him the credit for it today. Many years ago, when he first started preaching, he would prepare diligently for all his sermons. I'd fine-tune my points, make sure that everything was in place. I would think to myself, man, I'm going to share this and I'm going to share that. And when I preached, I would forget to mention certain points. Because of that, I would get angry with myself. I would tell myself there was such a good point, but I didn't remember to share it. Then God began to speak to him. He said, "Son, your preaching is not out of rest, it's out of your memory." What he said next changed my mind and changed my life. Not just in the area of preaching, but also in every other area. And I pray that it'll bless you too. He said, prepare everything you need to. But when you stand in front of people, whatever you need to say, I'll give it to you. Now I want you to think about that a minute. When you're going through situations in your life, you're preparing for a message, or preparing to talk to some people, or preparing a situation or a circumstance, or maybe even a paper, whatever it may be. I want you to understand that the Bible's very plain about the Holy Spirit will come upon you and He'll tell you what you need to say. Yeah, I understand there must be some preparation for things, and whether it's your sermon or sales presentation, whatever it is, I'm not telling you to be lazy and to just do nothing. You need to prepare, but don't depend on your preparation. Just trust God and tell yourself that whatever you forget, God must have wanted it forgotten. And whatever you didn't plan to say, but said, is because God wanted it said. Don't be stressed out and lose your rest by thinking, I must know everything, I must remember everything, and do everything I've prepared. See, guys and gals, we got to understand that we work out of a place of rest. Now, we prepare our sermons, and we study the Bible to know our sermons, but that comes out of our hearts, which is a preparation of the Holy Spirit. So maybe you're going through situations in your life and you say, well, I got to get with this, I got to do this. Sure, we got to prepare, but there's somewhere along the way that you got to trust Him. You know, you step up in that platform and you say, you know what, I don't know, but today I'm just going to trust the Holy Spirit. You know, I've had so many times in my life over the several years, 40 years of preaching and pastoring, that I would get up and God would change everything and say, you know, I don't want you to talk about that at all. And we would go a totally different direction. But believe God, guys, and just be at rest. When the time comes, whatever you need to know, then and there, God will let you know it. Whatever you don't need to know, you just don't need to know. And don't worry about what you didn't say. Believe that God didn't want it said. And so many times, you know, there's things that we think about and we want to say, and there'll be things that I'm going through sermons and stuff, and I'm looking over stuff, and I want to highlight this. I really want to remember this. And then sometimes after the sermon's over, the message is over, I get to the bottom and I know that I haven't even made that point. And I'll hear that little still small voice that it won't have time for that point. That's not what I wanted said today. So my friend, when you live life like that, and don't worry about what you didn't say, but believe God that God just didn't want you to say it. When you live your life like that, trusting God and resting in His love for you, you become cool and collected. And when you're peaceful and at rest in Him, what you do will prosper in every area of your life. And so I've learned in my short life to trust Him. Now, I'm pretty level-headed with trusting Him about what I'm going to say in a sermon or those things. It's other areas of life that I sometimes struggle with. Lord, just help me prepare, but then let me just trust You to make everything okay. See, sometimes you just got to know that everything's going to be okay. You just got to know that during difficult times and situations in your life, you've got to trust the Lord. Because without Him, you can't do anything. So today, just work out of a place of rest. Let Him work in you and stir you, and just trust Him that every appointment, every situation in your life, you're going to say what you need to say when you need to say it. That's the beauty of grace.